And we are back. We're back. It is the first live stream since the last event of the year, Midwinter Massacre, and we're back. It's a good time. Um, Weird being at the end of the year. Feels like this year has been incredibly short. It just zoomed on through, and I think it's partially because I've been to so many bloody events this year. I think I've been to 11 or 12 events this year. I've been all over the country and into other countries. If you are, and you should be counting Scotland. But we're back. It's a good time, and we are preparing not for an event necessarily. Although Warcries in the West is coming up. If you fancy going to Warcries in the West, I have slapped the pinned comment with how you can do that. But we're back, and it's time to ponder on what faction I want to play next, right? So we've done Order of Vizier, we've done Haunts of Ashut, we've done Vulcan Flameseekers and Tim Beasts, Soulblight Gravelords. Like we've done a fair chunk of wonderful and varied warbands. But as the poll suggests, and as I think the title of the stream, in fact, and of course the title on the hidden away on the thumbnail of Super Sexy Time, we're feeling a little bit sexy. We kind of want to do some sexy, guys. Do something a little bit unusual, and for that, there's really three options. If you want to get a little bit sexy in Warcry, you've got three options. It's sexy humans, sexy demons, or sexy dwarfs. Sadly, there aren't enough sexy elves to fit in, and you might be saying, but Matt Toast, you're forgetting about Daughters of Cain. Nah, man, I don't believe in that, right? It's too snaky, too batty, right? Bit too weird, bit too flighty, okay? So there's only really three options. And sexy humans are of course, the Slaanesh Cyberites. Sexy demons are, of course, the Slaanesh demons. And sexy dwarfs, well, sexy dwarfs, let me tell you, that's the Hellsmiths of Ashut. Have you seen those guys? Are those the sexiest dwarfs going? Like, they're definitely up there, like, with Vulcan Flameseekers as, like, the sexiest dwarf Games Workshop I've ever made. They're pretty darn spicy, right? Like, I'm tempted for all three of these. Right, like Cyberites, Demons, or Chaos Dwarfs, and I don't know which, hence the poll. Will this poll be adhered to for, like, all eternity? No, but it may be adhered to when it comes to what games we play today, if we can sneak in a game today, which we really frequently do, because it'll be the first game in, what, 4-5 streams maybe? 4 or 5 streams? Where we are not tied to an event wholly, right? We can just put something together, play something funny, bit different, and just experiment with some Slaanesh or Hellsmith stuff. And I think I want to kind of like, since we're nattering at the minute, right? Let's do some Cyberites, because I think Cyberites have gotten a bit of a bad rap, right? Because Cyberites were fairly top tier, and the reason for that largely boiled down to their chaff. And by chaff, I mean a token. And by a token, I mean an Age of Sigmar. This guy's not even a model, right? It doesn't count as a real thing. And of course, that's the Blissbrew Homunculus. And this guy, I believe, went up 5 points. And that might not seem like a lot, but when you were seeing like 3, 4, 5 Homunculuses in any given list, that's like anywhere from like 15 to 25 points you have to find, which means you're like losing key blessings. You're potentially losing an entire model to make up for that, right? So the common lists of like a Vassalac or a Slake Slash, throwing in some allies, maybe slapping in like a load of pain, and then filling up on Blissbrew Homunculuses to build up those numbers. You had a really nice mix of smashy killy and horde and speed, because of course this is still Slaanesh, right? And everything here is like bare minimum movement 5. I don't think there's anything less than movement 5 in I tell a lie. Immediately I tell a lie. The Myrmideshes are movement 4. and anything in that like Mermadesh, Simbaresh zone is moving 4. But that's not a big deal because again they're still Slaanesh. They've got access to movement 6 Fiends or Slangor, movement 10 Cavalry at decently well priced as well, and of course they've got access to Lithe and Swift on a double, Unrivaled Velocity if you are a Cyberite, which means you get a move nice and fast. So your warband's fast. Now the issue is that the Slaanesh list was really, I want to say, restrictive. You would take like a Vexmore in there somewhere. You'd now likely replace Vexmore with like a Deathbringer, probably, right? Something along those lines. But the main list for these guys got hit pretty hard, with Vexmore being taken out of the picture, with their Bliss Brews being less viable. It gets kind of difficult. But I think that potentially these guys actually got a little bit of a buff, or at least an incentive to play in new and unique ways. And there's a few reasons for that. One, if you don't know, their battle trait is hilarious. It is incredibly thematic. It is all of your eggs in one basket, and we go Boomba mode and everything dies. Right? You die, they die. It's silly. Basically, if you take damage from an attack or a reaction, you can take 3 additional damage and gain +2 attacks on your next melee attack, which is kind of silly. When you consider that you can take this on your fairly durable, like 25 wound Slangor Slake Horns, your Lord of Pains, right? They can do this. And Lord of Pains are no pushovers. 4/5, 3/5s. You're telling me that if this guy gets like poked a few times by chaff, or gets reacted to on his first swing, he's got the wound pool to take the hit, and then he swings in with 6 attacks? That's crazy, right? Like, get clapped a couple times in one turn, you know what I mean? And you take that risk and take a burn a few times. You know, you're getting like potentially 6 attacks on one swing. Sorry, potentially 8 attacks on one swing. It's kind of wild. But then you go into like the next level of madness. You look at the Simbaresh Ego Pumps. You look at the Lord of Hubris, right? Lord of Hubris. Let's get this guy up. So for maximum chaos, you go with the Lord of Hubris, right? Because this guy, he's squishy as all hell. T4, 20 wounds. He's cheap though. He dies to a breeze. And you kind of want him to die. So remember, he wants to get hit to get +2 attacks. So he's really looking at like a 6-4-2-3. Okay, that's not too shabby. That's a lot of blend, right? But then you throw in you first, I insist, right? Pick a visible enemy fighter within 1 inch. That fighter makes a bonus attack action targeting this fighter. Until the end of this fighter's activation, gain +2 attacks, +2 strength, and +3 crit. Okay. So the combo here, of course, is that you spend your double, which for the record, a double to gain +2 attack, +2 strength, +3 crit on a double is arguably one of the strongest like single buffs in the game you can actually get. That's incredibly powerful. But you get that. You make them attack you. Because they've attacked you, you then use your battle trait. So you get +4 attacks, +2 strength, +3 crit. So you go to an 8-6-2-6. Wild. And the best part is, if you're already in combat, whilst your battle trait doesn't work over like the entire turn, it's just on the next attack, you first, I insist, works on until the end of your activation. So you're getting 8 attacks at strength 6, 2-6 damage, and then 6 attacks at strength 6, 2-6 damage. The Lord of Hubris, yeah, he's taken like a minimum of like 4 damage every time he does his combo, like at a minimum 4 damage. But he swings in and he's got the potential to like more or less kill anything if you roll well enough. And his strength is so high that he can punch through most things, right? You would use this to blend through a leader, right? He's an assassin, right? You want to kill their leader, maybe take out a chaff as well, and then whatever, right? If you fail, you fail. If you succeed, it's hilarious. He can swing way up. If he dies, he dies. He is just a really fun piece who can just escalate like mad. Simon, what's up, man? Great to see you looking at Slaanesh. I am literally just getting into them. Slaanesh are really cool. I'm not entirely sure which one I want to go with yet, but Cyberites are the ones that are really talking to me at the minute, because the Cyberites don't see much play anymore, and I think there's a lot of play in their bulk. So I'm going for the battle trait now. The battle trait's really powerful. Risky as all hell, but really powerful. It allows you to throw out a lot of attacks. Load of hubris is insane. Now, one of the biggest issues with all of Slaanesh's stuff is that they have low strength. Their damage is surprisingly high. Bearing in mind, like Myrmideshes and Pain Bringers can increase their damage to 3/5 on a double. Like, their damage is fine. Their attacks are fine. Their strength is typically low. So if you go down to their Pain Bringers, these guys are strength 3. Okay. Lots of attacks. Low strength. Decent base damage, but going to 3/5 is wild. Like 105 points. And you're getting a 4-3-3-5 profile. It's kind of bonkers. And again, if you get attacked at any point, you can like take 3 damage and go to 6 attacks, right? Like a 6 attack, 105 point model with 3 damage on that profile is kind of insane. And you're hitting on 5s on most things, and that's the downside. And that downside is exacerbated when you consider that counter exists, but counter doesn't really exist now, right? Like, counter exists, it just doesn't do a lot of damage, so you don't take much damage from counter. It's not as much of a threat to deal with. So you can afford to throw out 1 trillion attacks per turn and like fish for that damage, right? It's kind of spicy. Simon, Cyberites are just fun. Go all in. I'm currently cooking up a six-man team. Ooh, that's a small team, but thematic. 6 is of course Slaanesh's holy number. Ego Pump, love it. Vasilak, love Vasilak. Hubris, Myrmidesh, Twin Soul Cleaver, and Dual Blades. That's kind of spicy, right? Is that the so? Yeah, I like Myrmideshes, the Twin Soul Cleavers, and the Dual Blades. Let's have a look at those guys. The Sinful Cleaver, 3-5-2-4. Not see. If you want strength, you go with the Simbreshers. If you want like volume, you tend to go, and cheapness, you tend to go with the Myrmideshes. But looking at these guys, the 3-5-2-4 is really spicy. 4-4-2-4 is also really cool. And what's more, what I really like about Slaanesh is that wound total, right? They're not squishy. If you go Simbresh, you go Myrmidesh, you're looking at 15 wounds, potentially T5. So if you want to play KGI, you don't want to use your battle trait to take damage, and you just want to stand there and just brawl, you can, because you have T5 15 wounds. And you're only slightly more than the Ard Boy. You have way more attacks. I'll say way more. You've got between 1 and 2 attacks more than an Ard Boy. You're faster than an Ard Boy at base, and you can go to movement 7. And you can increase that damage to 3/5. So the Myrmidesh I think compares really well to Ard Boys, which is always a good sign. Simon, pump the chaffs with +4 HP. Okay. Get the Ego with +1 attack, +1 strength on Vasilak, and +20 on the Hubris. How are you getting? You can only put 1 blessing on a model at a time, so you couldn't get +20 HP on the Hubris, unfortunately. But putting HP wounds into your Simbreshes and whatnot isn't too shabby. Getting these guys to 19 wounds makes them really hard to shift. Even harder than they already are. And as well, another aspect of these Memodeshes and these Simbareshes, right? I meant for... that makes sense. I was like, plus 20 HP on the Hubris? That's wild. I would do that if I could. Went with the point cost. Yeah, that's one of the things with... my concern with plus 4 wounds, of course, is that it costs 20 points now, not 15. But if you're dedicated to that 6-man list, right, getting your guys as durable as possible is definitely the way to go. For sure. It's not even a question, right? You want to get guys really durable so you can take the hits, because you've got the damage. And if you gave like the Mermadesh plus 1 strength, it doesn't matter. Like, the difference between strength 3 and strength 4 is pretty much non-existent from my experience, right? Like, strength 4 is like, yeah, you'll hit into like some mid-range, some chaffies here, like, sure, but like, more and more you're seeing T5 in the game, and strength 3 is as good as strength 4 at hitting at T5. So I think wounds in that case is actually a really good shout for that. What else makes the Cyberites great is, of course, where counter, which they are no longer subjected to as much because it's no longer as powerful, so you can swing with reckless abandon, is that you still have it. Although you have, better counter. You have reverse counter, so when you take hits, you bounce that damage back. And this is less useful on your Mermadeshes. They're T5, right? So those T5 Mermadeshes aren't getting hit as easily, so you won't find much use in Shed Pain. But you will find that Shed Pain is great when those Mermadeshes get caught up by a big thing, right? They can reliably pump damage back into big things, which is real nice. And if you've got littler things, I say littler, less toughness focused units like those Simbareshes who are T4, or even your Slangors who are T4 as well. They can, or your 20 wound T3 guys, your cavalry. Those guys can take hits and just bounce damage back all day, and they're having a good time doing it. And of course, you can still use because your battle trait is not an action or anything, it's just free, right? You can I am going to react with Shed Pain, I'm going to bounce damage back onto you, I'm going to take damage from your attack, I will also take more damage from Pain-Filled Rapture, so when I attack back, I am attacking with more attacks, and all this just happens simultaneously, and it's rather wonderful. It's really funky. I think looking as well at their one Bladeborn, their one Bladeborn's pretty good, because we have Vassal Actor Gifted, and 200 points, 26 wounds, movement 5, T5. This guy's hard to shift. Vassalac as well, of course, range 2, which is very nice. 4-4-2-5, but he's not. He's a 4-4-3-6 because he has access to the Mermadesh ability to get +1 damage, +1 crit. Vassalac can go 2 ways, in my eyes. You either give him +1 crit, so he goes to a 3-7. The difference between a 3-6 and a 3-7 is quite substantial. In terms of your output, because it means you can hit 10 multiples of 10 much easier. It means you can kill 10 wound models and 20 wound models more reliably. You can also hit the extra damage. It basically covers a variety of breakpoints in really efficient ways, which ain't too shabby for one. Or you go with +1 strength, and Vassalac going to strength 5 is fairly good. It means he can swing into other T5s, he can swing at chaff quite nicely, and because he's got movement 5 with unrivaled velocity, he's like movement 8, so he's got a 10-inch threat range. So he just runs in and goes kaboom and just blows some guy up with his just massive weight of dice, especially if he's taking like a hit at some point, like from a range attack, or anything like that. If you've managed to pop off your battle trait, Vasilak just goes off the deep end, which is wonderful when you've got 26 wounds to play with as well. That's a lot of wounds to play with, which is very nice when you want to be burning those wounds on self-damage. And Slake Slash is in a similar vein. Although I think with Slake Slash, you wouldn't be likely to burn your battle trait. You definitely can, but for me with Slake Slash, I think it's definitely, you have to look at it from the perspective of how much, because you choose to use Pain-Filled Rapture after you've seen the damage, whether that's from an attack or from a reaction, right? So if you're taking a really big hit, like you won't be using Pain-Filled Rapture, but if some guys just whiffed and like bapped you for like 1 or 2 damage, like burning the 3 HP, right, and going to 6 attacks and swinging back, I ain't too shabby, right? That's pretty spicy. There's definitely space to Pain-Filled Rapture on Slake Slash. He's a little bit squishy, and the longer this guy stays alive, typically the better you're doing it. Because he is squishy. He's T4, 22 wounds. It goes down quickly, and he is often in really bad situations by design. You want to charge him in like a nuke and just blow some guy up. And sometimes Pain-Filled Rapture will help with that. Sometimes it won't. Like with Vasilak, you can go quite expensive and go +1 strength, or you can go +1 crit. Strength is more reliable, but crit does give you some more lucky burst. Going to 3/7 is always good. Hadzu got nerfed, sadly. She used to be, it was 100 points, I think, on Hadzu back in the day. For a 3/3 1/4 archer, she wasn't too shabby. And I still like Hadzu. If I was to run a list, and if I had the 5 points, I would absolutely upgrade a Memodesh into a Hadzu. As at least something to think about, because having a fairly cheap, long-ranged, high crit archer is just really nice for throwing out a little bit of chip, picking off a few wounds, bullying chaff from a safe distance, right? And Hadzu's also fast. Hadzu's moving 5, moving 8 with unrivaled velocity. Hadzu can get around. And if she's stationary and just firing off her 6 shots, well, on average, you're getting a hit and a crit onto things, right? That's the average you're looking for. That's just 5 damage downrange, right? That's fine. I'm happy with that 5 damage. If you get a bit luckier, land a couple crits, it becomes like with like Anslane in Sylvaneth. When you have relatively cheap archers pulling out like even 1 crit in a game, it can kind of, at the right time and the right target, it feels good. It feels really nice to pull it off. And Hadzu is quite good at doing that. So for me, I think Hadzu's not a must take, but if you've got the 5 points and you're taking Memodeshes, maybe consider Hadzu. I wouldn't take Glisset though. This is a maybe controversial, because I know a lot of like top tier Cyberite players who swear by Glisset. I do not value Glisset stats at all. Yeah, she's got +1 range, +1 crit, +1 move on a Myrmidesh, but -3 wounds and -2 toughness. I don't know. She feels so squishy. I'm not sure. Still, threat range 10 though. It comes back to that threat range 10. It's like, but like, when you've got things like Slake Slash, who's got a threat range of a bajillion. You've got Vasilak, threat range 10. Glisset, threat range 10. Hadzu, threat range 20. Like, these are like a very aggressive, very threat projection-y Bladeborn that I really quite like. So maybe I'll try Glisset, potentially. But I like all of these models, but fitting them all in is quite difficult because they come to quite a hefty total, right? Let's clear this up. How overall, right? Because these two alone are 400, so you're looking at 4 models at 620. And as I don't have balls of steel like Simon, I don't think I could run Cyberites at 6 and feel comfortable with that. I think I'd be a little bit spooked. But this, taking the Dread Pageant, you can maybe drop Vasilak, right? I think Vasilak's an easy downgrade into a load of Hubris or even into a Pain Master or an Ego Pump. Let's talk about the Ego Pump actually, because the Ego Pump is actually kind of crazy. So with me, with the Ego Pump, +1 strength is great. I would consider +1 crit or even +1 damage on the Ego Pump. The reason you would take an Ego Pump, chat, is because when you're building lists nowadays, you really want to fill in your doubles, your triples, and your quads. You want to have every potential roll at any turn to have something that you can do, potentially. And having a good quad is really good. And if you're taking Dread Pageant, you do get the Cavalcade of Madness, which is fine. Like, get extra attack, which is nice, right? Extra attack so is nice, and you get +1 attacks or +3 attacks if people are injured, right? It's kind of cool. An important thing to note is that Cavalcade of Madness works on range attacks, so Hadzu can absolutely Cavalcade of Madness and like fire off 6 shots potentially if she's injured and the thing you're shooting is injured. 6 shots from Hadzu and then another 6 shots from the next 2 actions, and just like lay down 12 arrows like from across the board. Is that the best way of doing it? No, but honestly, if you are playing with quad play on turn 1, you can't Reckoning. So actually cavalcading on Hadzu isn't too bad on turn 1 in theory. Would I do it? I don't know, maybe. But you have other quads you can do. One of them is of course, this is the one on the Lord of Pain. Not a big fan of. It gives everyone a big buff of strength. It can help with your low strength, but not hugely interested in that. The Ego Pump though gets ego driven excess, and this ability is crazy good. This fight can make a bonus move or a bonus attack action, so you can get this, use this to go up the board, use this to attack people once you're already up the board. In addition, every time you kill someone, this activation, you can move or attack again. So you can do this over and over again into chaff. Like, the dream play is to get your Ego Pump, who is movement 4, a little bit slow, on turn 1, launch this guy into like a horde of guys, into a deployment that's a little bit squishier, and get the Ego Pump just rolling. Pop your ego-driven excess and get blending. Kill a guy, and just chain those attacks. Get as many attacks as you possibly can out, and just blend through their chaff. The only issue with the Ego Pump is his actual damage is a little bit piddly. He's got the strength, he's got the range, he's got the attack value, really, but 2-4 is really low. You would want to spend the 40 points on +1 attack, or spend the 10 points and cheap out to get +1 crit. At the very least, that +1 crit, because you want those hits to land and do something, right? And 2-4 ain't going to do that, and no matter how you cut that. So the Ego Pump's really cool, but the best part is that ability is on all Cymbereshes, right? So you've got your Twin Cleaver can do it, right? Your whips and your Merciless Blades can all do it too. So if you have a few options for doing ego-driven excess, and they're all pretty spicy. We're talking about Slaanesh. We are absolutely talking about Slaanesh. We are in the Slaanesh mood. So I think there's definitely a world where you drop Basilak for an ego pump, potentially. Although a cheaper option again would be to go with a Painmaster, because a Painmaster is more or less just a discounted Basilak. Although I say discounted, it's also a lot worse than Basilak. -1 move, -1 range, -1 crit, -6 wounds. Right, that's a lot of stats you're getting on Basilak for only 45 points. The Painmaster can kind of struggle. That Shardmaster has saved my ass at least 3 times. The Shard Speaker ain't too shabby. Like, she's a full fat wizard, which is always nice, for 120. And since we're looking at abilities, we have a lot of doubles that we like. So our doubles are sorted. If we're taking an Ego Pump or any of the Dread Pageant, our quads are sorted. So we're looking for good triples. And if you're taking Cav, that's Impaling Strike. I don't think you Volley of Tearing Blades, really. Like, Hadzu can do it, but like, maybe, right? What else have we got? Tendrils of a Natural Smoke. Right, so we've only really got 3 triples in our whole warband, and Tendrils really is the one. -1 attack in a 6-inch bubble is really nice. It is a little bit expensive. You can get this on like Vashtis the Coiled for a double, who is also, I think, cheaper than a Shard Speaker. The issue is, of course, is that if you're taking Vashtis, you lose out on your battle trait. And I think if I'm playing Cyberites, I really want to play with their battle trait. It's a lot of fun, and I want that fully, like, self-inflicted damage theme that the Cyberites are really into to actually be there. So I can see the Shard Speaker being great. Simon, the Shard Speaker looks pretty nice. For real, you might have to tell me. The shot is a 6-inch -1 attack bubble on a triple when you don't have triples in Slaanesh is pretty spicy. Especially as well when like your quads are also a little bit like scenario dependent. They're not universal, right? Like, sure, you could argue you could always just cavalcade on Hadzu. Sure, right? You could do that. But really, like, would you upgrade a triple for Cavalcade in an early turn, or would you just keep that triple as a Tendrils? Like, if you're in the throes of combat, upgrading, like, a double into a triple is completely reasonable. Even though there's a lot of good doubles here. One of them, of course, being Violence in Excess, which I'm a big fan of. Your heroes get to attack or move on kill. Very nice, very chaosy. This exists in like a lot of warbands, but it's very chaosy. Some Stormcast have it too, but it tends to exist a lot in more chaosy warbands. A little bit of destruction too. It's kind of spicy. If I was going to build a list, let's throw some things together. I think Vasilak is possible. Let's drop Glisset. Let's drop Vasilak. We'll keep Hadzu and Slake Slash for now. Tell you what, we'll drop them all. And I want to avoid taking Bliss Brew. I'll take 1 Bliss Brew at most, because the Bliss Brew can go with Hadzu and give Hadzu +1 strength, and that's a combo enabler, right? So I like Hadzu a lot. Let's say we take Hadzu and we take that combo Bliss Brew. We can drop the Bliss Brew at any point to go with a better piece. I would like to not take one at all, but I will allow this to have 1 Bliss Brew. To go full self-inflicted damage theme, I think the Load of Hubris is a must take. Load of Hubris, for me, is just too much fun. if I have the 30 points, I wouldn't be against giving the Lord of Hubris +1 damage base. So he's a 4-4-3-3 at base, and then can accelerate himself to an 8-6-3-6 when he wants to. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. But we do need some speed, and the speed, we've got many options for speed. We'll take a shard speaker for now. So we have many options for speed, and it's go speed with damage. This comes in the form of Slaanesh, or it comes in the form of Slash. Or we go speed for just speed, just raw speed, and we have like 4 options. And for me, I think keeping it cheap is probably the way. What is the Destroyer Rune Mark? The ability to do... Yeah, it is. Okay. So I think for me, it would be the Hellstrider with Claw and Spear. If we were going to go super cheap on Cav, the Hellstrider, because it's got that triple to do flat dice damage and potentially just like run 20 inches and just blow some guy up, is quite powerful as a potential back pocket thing. Also, movement 10 is just fast, 20 wounds is quite durable, and 135 points is reasonably cheap. I wouldn't go with the Bliss Barb Seeker. The bow's not good enough, frankly. And the Slick Blade Seeker is the best in combat, but also it loses the toughness, so it dies easier. And I kind of want these guys to survive, if I can. So do we go Hellstrider, or do we go like Slake Slash, is the question. Because Slake Slash is like more or less all of that, but does shit tons of damage. Bearing in mind, Slake Slash is also not 200 points, he's 215. You should always put strength on Slake Slash, because 4 strength is just not enough to punch through things you want to kill. I think for now, we'll put in a Slake Slash and we'll keep it sort of like by the book. I am not against dropping Slake Slash for cavalry though. That does not. I am not fully in on the Slake Slash game. I am happy to drop that guy for something a bit cheaper if it means we can fit in some cooler dudes. I mean, the dude is amazing for a reason. Frankly, as well, there's an argument to be made as well that you could take a Slaanesh Fiend Blood instead. And the reason for that is that the range 2 is really nice on the Fiend Blood. You could also push to a Slakehorn. Again, it's just that, it's for the extra range and a bit of durability. The issue is that Slakehorn's a lot more expensive. Because you also, again, putting on +1 strength on that. So it goes all the way to 245. So it's a good 30 points more than a Slake Slash. And 30 points for like +1 range, -1 crit, +3 wounds probably isn't worth it. But Slake Slash is rather wonderful for sure. And since we aren't taking any more Bliss Brews, right? I think we have points we now fill out on burly guys. Does that mean we take a Sinful Cleaver? So we have some ego-driven excess play going. Maybe actually 3-5-2-4. See, I'm not sure of that one actually, because these are all interesting weapon options. If we're taking it for the potential like grindy quad play, honestly, I think we look more for attacks over strength, because we want to be, they're there to kill chaff, to blend through chaff. And in that sense, having 4 attacks is probably better for that. And I think maintaining 4 strength is probably better. Yeah, 3 dice is really unreliable. I think strength 4 might actually be better than range 3, but price, right? The lash is 5 points cheaper, which means that like depending on points, we might be forced into Lash, and I'm not actually too sad about that, even if that Strength 3 is a bit unreliable. Again, ideal scenario is we get into combat on like turn 2, we take like a stab, someone stabs her with a counter, thinking they're going to die. We then Pain-Fueled Rapture, I go to 6 attacks, we pop our quad, and then we like blow up some chaff, and then we just start swinging and just blending through things. That'll be like the goal of this guy, really. But the backbone is definitely these Painbringers. I think the backbone will have to be Painbringers because of that really high toughness, and the fact that you can go at 3-5 is so good. It's such a powerful ability to do. We could take like 2 of these guys, and then we have the points now free, because we only need, realistically, I would love to bless the Lord of Hubris, but he doesn't need it. Slake Slash does. So we only need 20 points of blessings in this list to work. Only 20. So our option is another Painbringer. This gives us 35, which means 15 points. What can we do? Maybe Hadzu Strength 4. And the reason you would Hadzu Strength 4 is that with the Bliss Brew, Hadzu goes to Strength 5, which means she becomes a really good chaff shooter. Alternatively, you take the Shard Speaker at Strength 4. That's fine as well. Oh, actually, hang on. We have 35. It's only 15 to buff Slake Slash, right? So you could actually go plus 4 wounds on the Lord of Hubris. So you can, like, he basically gets a free Pain-Fueled Rapture, a free one, and strength on Slake Slash. That would be 3 Myrmideshes, and that'd be all of our points. Or we could spend an extra 5 points and drop a Painbringer. Take a Twin Soul. We have 30 points left over. We 15 Slake Slash, 15 Hadzu, or the Shard Speaker. We're good to go. We could even put 15 points into this Lash, make him a 4-4-2-4 with a 3-inch range. All those are actually, I think, great options we could go with, actually, with that extra strength blessing. Which is quite interesting. There's actually a lot of options here. Another option could be to go actually with the Merciless Blades and +1 strength on Slake Slash, +1 crit on the blades to a 4-4-2-5. And then we've got a bit of a blending machine on that Twin Soul. And finally, the final option is to take Glacette. We could also, of course, with Glacette, still drop a Myrmidesh and take any of those twin blades, basically. It will still all even out quite fine. But I think as a base for a list, this isn't too shabby. We have Projection, Slake Slash Projection, Hadzu Projection, Shard Speaker Projection. We have the Gimmick, the Lord of Hubris, the Goat himself, right? Lord of Hubris. We have Bulk in these Painbringers. I think do I want to take 3 of them over the Glacette? Maybe. We've got at least 2 Painbringers, and then it's like Glacette, a 3rd Painbringer, or any Cymberesh we want. Good to go. And we have this one Bliss Brew who is running support, doing like backline objectives, being a bit of a shit, or like potentially buffing up Hadzu's range attack. This gives us 8. I think 8 is like the target number for any list, unless you're like skewing into elite or you're skewing into horde. I think 8's like the ideal number because it's got just enough models, and but those models are also impactful enough. Once you start hitting like 9 or 10 models, the effectiveness of each model tends to go down. You have like less blessings or toys to play with. At 8, you've got like just enough toys, just enough blessings. It's a nice number to play around. I think this list could potentially do it. I wouldn't be against dropping Slake Slash in this list for Vasilak. Honestly. And it would be interesting to see how that would pan out. Like, if I wanted to go, like, full-on tank, like, Shard Speaker debuff, like, let's say we dropped Glisset even and took, like, another Painbringer or a Cymberesh, Vasilak, 2 Painbringers, a Cymberesh, and a Shard Speaker all working together as a really bulky front line, supported by a load of Hubrises, Shard Speaker range, Hadzu, Chaff Sniping. I could see that working quite well, especially when Vasilak has a threat range of 10. That is a longer threat range than Slake Slash almost. I mean, Slake Slash's is like 11 or something, right? It's a bit silly. So he's still not that far off on the threat range difference, and Vasilak is a lot more durable, right? Vasilak having toughness 5, 26 wounds makes a difference. So maybe actually we could go Vasilak instead. In any case, this as a base feels really good. Super, super solid. Beardo Dad, Shard Speaker and the Painbringer is just a fantastic brick. Yeah. You're right. Like, if you took, like, if one of your deployments was a Shard Speaker and 2 Painbringers, that's hard to shift. It doesn't really matter how big you are. You're rocking that -1 attack, and you're, like, basing 2 Painbringers who are throwing out a combined total of 16 attacks before they get buffed by their potential battle trait, before they buff themselves to go to 3-5 damage. Like, that's a tough objective to take back. And even if they start to die, you have your reaction to bounce damage back anyway, right? So, like, that's a real good brick. So if they're working together, that's a brick. If we've got Hadzu, a Homunculus, that's a really weak deployment. We need something strong in that deployment group. And I think I would say you would put a load of Hubris, Slake Slash / Vasilak into that. Because you need to have something strong in everything. Something as a, don't come here and fuck with my squishy guys. So something big and, like, spooky has to go with Hadzu. And then the final group would be like, you know, Hubris plus Glisset or your Cymberesh or something. And then you've got, that's another fairly dangerous group because the Hubris can blow anything up, and Cymbereshes are quite good in combat because of the higher strength innately, right? So I think even when it comes to, like, the battle groups, it all just falls together quite nicely. It's just settling on the Vasilak or Slake Slash. And I'm kind of, like, torn on that. Because Slake's really good. But, like, I'm kind of digging not taking a demon and going, like, all, or as many big armored guys as I possibly can. Vasilak really fits that. Like, fits that really well. How much is the Lord of Pain? Lord of Pain, a guy, where are you? Lord of Pain at 220. We could even fit a Lord of Pain. We could drop Slake Slash for a Lord of Pain. That's actually a really good shout as well. Like, he's 5 points more expensive, so we couldn't take a Cymberesh effectively. We probably could, right? Let's math it out by making computers do the work for us. Yeah, we've got 15 points left over, right? Like, we don't need a blessing. What else needs a blessing at 15 points, right? Like, fucking nothing. Like, realistically, we'd want to put, like, maybe 10 points on a Lord of Pain to go to a 3-6. And, like, we're kind of fine with that. So we could actually drop, in this case, drop Glisset for, like, that Lash. That Lash guy. What does the Lord of Pain do? He kicks the shit out of you. He's slower than then Slake Slash and Vasalak. But he's got range 2, so he's actually hard to kill. That range 2 is really nice. Base strength 5, it means he's hitting pretty hard. He's got good base damage. And his quad, it gives us basically our fourth quad. Third quad, second quad. It gives us a quad. That quad being dice value strength to everything within, I think, 6 inches. Which isn't great. Yeah, it's 6 inches. So, in a pinch, Lord of Pain throws out a big AoE strength buff. And now all these member dashes with their strength 3 go to strength 9. Potentially, right? And now they're pushing their damage through reliably as well. So potential Lord of Pain could definitely work. He's more durable than a Slake Slash. Looking at threat range, he's movement 4 with a 2-inch range. That's a 6-inch threat range. With Unrivaled, he goes to a 9-inch. He's got a slightly less of a threat range than Vasalak, but he's pumping out more damage than Vasalak potentially. It depends, because Vasalak can buff his strength to a 3/6, damage to a 3/6. So actually, potentially, a Blessed Vasalak might be better than Lord of Pain. Blessed Vasalak is a 4/5 3/6 with 26 wounds, movement 5. Oh, it's hard. There's so many options in this like 200 to 220 point range. There's a lot of options here, right? With Slake Slash, Lord of Pain, Vasalak. I'm leading Vasalak. I think Vasalak's like the guy that I kind of want in my life. It's 20 points to bless Vasalak. This gives us 15 points to bless anything else we want. I think I would be happy to 15. That's weird. That's a weird, because I can't bless Lord of Hubris with that. See, it all sort of like Drop Glisset. Take a Simbaresh with Twin Blades. We can't. God damn it. It's Vasalak again. So with Vasalak, because he's 5 points more expensive to bless with strength. So we couldn't take the ideal scenario of +1 crit Simbaresh Twin Blade. Nor could we take Lash, because the Lash needs the strength, but we can't strength bless this and Vasalak, because Vasalak fucking takes 20 points for that. Okay, so Vasalak is slightly more awkward to work with because of that extra 5 points. He is kind of good though. Which means potentially taking a third Painbringer might just be the ideal option here. Bit more bland, but it is bulky. This is like a bulky list. We've got 45 wounds on Painbringers. We have Vasalak. Slake Slash. I think this is the one. As a list, I think this could be the one. It's Slake Slash. Slake, I hate saying the name though. Slake Slash with strength and a Simbaresh with strength as well. So he's got that range 3 4/4/2/4. That could be pretty spicy. Again, we're looking at extending threat ranges where we can, and Slake has like one of the longest ones we can do, and of course the Simbaresh movement 4, movement 7. When you consider that he has access to unrivaled velocity, and range 3 means he's got a 10-inch threat, which is equal to Glisset, The difference here is that he is safer due to range 3, and he's rocking that rather wonderful 15 wounds. And T4 is not as good as T5, but it's kind of fine. It's a pretty even toss-up between Simbaresh and Glacette. But I think the fun of this quad, ego-driven excess, could be like the decider. I think this is the list. I think this is definitely the list I would consider running with mortals. I am rambling like crazy today, but having a good time doing it. Of course, this is a Nattering and Battering live stream, so if anybody actually fancies a game today, throw in a comment in the comments or drop me a DM on Discord and I'll rack up a TTS game. I'll run this. I'm gonna paste this into a notepad so I don't lose it, because that was a whole lot of rambling, but I think in the end managed to come out with a fairly solid list. Now, who is going to play against this? That's the question. I'm going to throw out my tendrils on Discord, see if I can get people to... I wonder. We'll go to old reliables, see if they're around. We'll see if that gets any attention. Do you mind having a look at... Go for it. Throw it in the chat. I'll have a gander at it. I am happy to have a gander at your list, Francis. Throw it in the chat. So that'd be... I like... picking through and dissecting cool new ideas on streams all the fun time. Remember that 6 is the number of Slaanesh. It is, but also 6 is a really small warband. It's a Darkling Coven. Okie dokie. 8 fighters. 8 fighters? Interesting, okay. So I saw a Charybdis, which is immediately drawn my attention, because Charybdis is a really fun. Charybdi. Fleetmaster. And then you've got 6-man warband is cannon. 6-man warband will get launched from a cannon, I'm telling you that. I like playing elite warbands, but also I am a coward. So there's always that. Sorceress, +3 Corsairs with crossbows. Let's have a look. Bump, bump, bump. And then 2 dual blade cutlasses. Spawn 1,000. Right away, I'm kind of liking that. So let's have a look. So Corsair Fleetmaster is a solid, cheap blender. Of course, T3 and 18 wounds means he's not going to stand up to much pain. But well, again, Darkling Coven does struggle in general for durability and damage, but that's fine. Sorceress, I'm a big fan of wizards. Right off the bat, great ability. I believe she's got a quad. She does. Vitriolic Spray is a pretty good quad, all things considered. Yeah, the Charybdis triple, the Abyssal Howl, is insane. Insane. Big AoE net means that when you have the Sorceress and a fair few fairly underwhelming, sadly, crossbows, it does mean you can net a whole warband and then sort of like chip away from safety. The Cryptus, of course, has a range 2, so he can get into combat himself and start to blend. He has all your damage and all your durability rolled into one. Great quad on the Sorceress. What else have we got for abilities? Quick with the Lash. Move fast down the Cryptus. Add 2 to the move characteristics and +1 to the attack characteristics of melee attacks this turn. I can only do this on the first battle round. As a solid ability, I don't think you're going to see the actual attack ever come off, but going to movement 7 is actually pretty snazzy. Get those Corsairs around the board really quickly. Also, I think, before I forget, the theme is wonderful. Like, Charybdis, a big old fucking ancient sea monster backed by a bunch of Corsairs and Fleet Masters is fucking cool as fuck. As a theme, it's amazing. I think the only thing this list really lacks is abilities, right? Like, you've got, like, one of your abilities only works on turn 1 on Merciless Raiders. And then, like, you've got 2 quads, which is unfortunate. They're both great. AoE damage on the spiked tail and single target damage on the vitriolic spray is great. Abyssal Howl for support. Dragon Maul, of course, exists. Like, you're really pumping dice into triples here, which is definitely viable. You can totally do that. The only concern is that, like, the warband falls apart if the Charybdis dies or takes too much damage, because this thing has all of your damage and all of your defenses. Everything else kind of falls over and doesn't do all too much. But of course, Warcry is not all about killing things. The whole warband being movement 5 base, movement 7 on turn 1 potentially, makes them very fast. And you've got 8 guys. Monsters with 8 models is like having an 11-man warband, right? Like, that's a pretty, like, in terms of action economy, you have like a pretty stonking one with an 8-man monster list. So you can definitely play the objective games and the treasure games really well. I could see this performing pretty well. I like this a lot. An awful lot. Yeah, like, if you were to go into something like Order of Azir, they would have a field day. Just unleashing havoc with their myriad guns into this list. But thankfully, ranged lists aren't that common. There aren't that many dedicated range lists. The concern becomes, like, lists that have one really good gun. Like, if you were to come up against a Slaanesh Starmaster, there is a universe where that thing could potentially kill like 3 Corsairs per turn. And when you only have 5, there's a universe where 3 die turn 1 and then the rest die turn 2. And then you're in a really bad spot. But every list has its weaknesses, right? So this one being weak to like something fast and killy, getting into those squishy models, or powerful range pieces picking you off, that's the weakness. You've got to bear that in mind. But that being said, not everyone brings those things. Not every list will have those tools available. So from like a purely competitive level, could this Darkling Coven list go, let's say, 2 wins, 2 losses at an event and like land middle of the pack, right? I think this list could do that. I think with clever play, like with clever play and careful positioning and sticking to the mission and minimizing your casualties wherever you possibly could, this list could definitely win games, and it could do, like, I think it could definitely land a 2-2 at an event. And when it comes to, like, is this list good? I think if it can land 2-2 in an event, I think that is like the benchmark for, is it successful? and I think this list could do that. It could also go into a field that's all guns. A tournament filled with Order Viziers and Slaans and Wildercore, and that might be a bit tricky, but that's also unlikely, right? So no, I think this is pretty good, and monsters are more common now. But that being said, monsters are still fairly unplayed. Like, even with the Dankhold being like the resurgence of monsters in Warcry, you still don't see too many monsters, which gives the Charybdis a real threatening presence, because people don't necessarily know how to play into monsters, and that only plays into your favor, especially when the Charybdis is actually a really good one. That AoE net, of course, Dragon Maul, and a 4-5-4-8 profile is a really strong profile. The Charybdis can eat most things quite easily. So, now man, Francis, this is actually a really cool list. I'm a big fan of it. I could see this doing work into the right matchups, and that's always fun. But again, of course, this is bleh. I'm stuttering over my words. Again, if anyone fancies a cheeky game on TTS, this is of course a Nattering and Battering live stream. So if you fancy a game, drop it in the comments and we will boot up TTS. We'll throw some dice and have a good time. In the meantime, let's check out the poll. We've had a poll running all stream, and people really want sexy humans. Francis, man, no bother. I am always happy to look at lists and give my 2 cents, so to speak. But yeah, it looks like chat is all up on those sexy humans, and I'm all for that too. I think with sexy demons, I think like Slaanesh demons are cool. I just don't think Slaanesh demons are really for me. You know what I mean? Like, they've got some cool models. I really like, less so Vexmore nowadays. He's still fine. I would run Vex. If I was running Slaanesh demons, I think it'd be silly not to take Vexmore, frankly. Because Vexmore is just a solid piece. But like Vexmore, Lascavia, and Vashtis as a trio are actually really good. All three are fantastic. Lascavia has your triple play, Vexmore takes your doubles, Vashtis takes doubles as well, really well. And then what do you do from here? Hang on. And like what you do from here is like Demonettes are really nice. 4-3-1-4 with an ability to go to 2-5 damage is really good. They're fast. So you can fill out on Demonettes, have a good time. Maybe look at Fiends, maybe look at Seekers or Hellstriders. You could even go with, as we saw on stream, Off Meta Musings likes the Contorted Epitome for several reasons. I believe one of them is that it has access to a quad, which you always want to have. Remember, you always want to have a good quad. And the Contorted Epitome has the Mirror of Absorption, a 9-inch range ability that just means someone can't activate. You hit, for example, Francis's Charybdis with that, and that's a sad time. Hit like a Fomroid Crusher or a Gut Lord with that, and like you kind of like balk a whole turn up. So the Contorted Epitome is really good for that. Plus, of course, the Contorted Epitome is route 10. Very fast. Loads of attacks, right? You're throwing out like 12 attacks in combat if you're already in combat. Got a nice little wizard bolt there as well. The Epitome is a really good pick. I would maybe actually drop Vexmore for the epitome, because again, Vexmore is 200 points once you factor in the fact that you're blessing this guy up with a 40-point blessing. I wouldn't be against dropping like Vexmore for a contorted epitome in this case. This way we're looking at Vashtis having a net, Vashtis having the Shard Speaker triple but on a double, really bloody powerful. A -1 attack in a 6-inch ball on a double is insane. Plus, Vashtis is a wizard, so you have 2 wizard bolts. Big fan of wizard bolts. Houston Toad, I have to pretend to work. It's fine, dude. No worries. Pretending to work is the worst. But Lascavia, I think, with Vexmore being nerfed a little bit, I think Lascavia sort of like takes a bit of a spotlight in the what's it called now? I can't remember. Within the Thricefold Discord, because that lass gains access to the Bladed Blessing. This fighter makes a bonus melee attack. Subtract 5 from the toughness characteristic of that target for that attack action to a minimum of 1. When you have 6 attacks, is that a bonus attack action, by the way? Fucking is. Wild. So Lascavia, being a 6/3 2/3, pick a thing and kill it. Right, moving 6, you move 6. So anything within 7 inches takes 12 attacks to the head, and 6 of them will absolutely always hit on a 3+. So pick a mid-range, pick a chaff, they're dead. If they're within 7 inches, you have a second go at that, although you're hitting on 5s on that second swing. If they are within 13, you get a run twice and still attack, and that thing is probably going to die. For blessings, I would give Lascavia, if you have the points, +1 damage, just to go with 3/3 for fun. But if you don't have the points and you want a bit more thoughtful of your points, then maybe go with +1 crit, because that'll go a long way when you're throwing out potentially 18 attacks. If Lascavia is in combat, she throws out 18 attacks, with 1/3 of those attacks being on a 3+. Lascavia is crazy. She dies. They die very easily because T3 16 wounds gets blended down, which is also they are also very cheap at 135 points. Wonderful pick. Absolutely wonderful. If Vashtis dies, Lascavia gets to move or attack. If Lascavia dies, Vashtis gets to move or attack. And they both benefit greatly from that because, of course, extra 6 attacks on Lascavia or a free Wizard Bolt on Vashtis. These are all good things. So I think these 3 form a really good core for demons. Really good core. From here, what do you want? You could go with a Blissbringer, maybe. A bit expensive. Again, you want like 8 models, maybe 9 in demons, because you are a little bit squishier than Cyberites, right? You've got less. You don't have access to Blissbarb Archers or Hadzus. I'm not even sure you've got access to Charge, unless Blissbringers have it. But you could consider like a Blissbringer, or they are a 5/3/2/4 with 30 wounds. Very fast, not mounted. Key thing to note. Nice and durable. 5/3/2/4. Blendy. You're not being punished by counter now, so low strength is fine. High volume is great. Or you could cheap out. Save, is it 40 points? Save the 45 points and go with a Fiend. You lose an attack. Bit sad. But if you wanted a cheap, and in this case we couldn't take a Blissbringer because we have 3 heroes. A attack blessed Fiend is 5 points cheaper than a Blissbringer. You are 5 wounds less, but you can still take a Fiend, and Fiends are fine as they are. Their ability, well, I forget, Fiends have Crushing Grip. They have 2 abilities, Crushing Grip and also Deadly Venom. So Crushing Grip, pick up his back within 1 inches. Net, excellent. Second net, great. So when Vashtis has a net, your Fiend has a net. You have Contorted Epitome to have the Uber net, and Deadly Venom for... That's really expensive. Oh, hit and crit? Ooh. Ooh. It's kind of spicy. I mean, it is just like worse Tearing Bite. It's just worse Tearing Bite. Because it's only half the value of the ability. However, still, if we were to take, again, the Fiend here, which I think is probably worth considering because he's got the support aspect too, that ain't too shabby, right? But the Fiend, 4-3-2-4, you could give it +1 strength, you could give it +1 attack, either or a fine, +1 crit maybe, if you get really cheap on that. And then you're going to run in there, net something you don't want out to move. Bearing in mind, you could move 8 inches, net someone with Crushing Grip, and then move 8 inches away, I think, unless I have misread the ability. Yep. So you can basically run up to them, crush their legs, and then run away, which is really funny. And it's a 2+ net, so it's pretty reliable, which is very nice to have. You can definitely do worse than Crushing Grip for a net for sure. As a call, this is half your warband in size, because you're looking for like 8 maybe, and you're just over half your warband in models, and this is a lot of sauce. Like, these 4 models have 2 reactions and like a whole bunch of abilities, right? A nice mix of triples and doubles, and of course you have an amazing quad that is good from turn 1. So always nice to have. And then how do you fill this out on it? You fill out with however you want, frankly. Like, you can't take any more heroes in this list. You could even take a Hellstrider if you really want to, but I think the real option here is to take some Demonettes. Boom, here we go. 8 Demonettes. Almost 9. We're 5 points over. It's a bit sad, but honestly, we're playing Slaanesh, right? Slaanesh, the Lord of Excess. Who doesn't want 70 points of blessings when playing Slaanesh? I know I want 70 points of blessings playing Slaanesh, and I'm fine putting like 40 points of those into this Fiend maybe. I'm fine with that. Are you fine with that? Probably. Other options, put on like +1 strength on those Demonettes. That is only 60 points. You've got 15 points left over. I don't know. +1 strength on Lascavia. Good to go, right? You could go +1 attack on the Fiend, +1 damage on Lascavia. If you want to go like fully excess, 6-3-3-3 and a 5-3-2-4 for your 70 points. There are so many ways to do this. You can put +1 crit on all these Demonettes for 40 points, still have 30 left over, and then mess around blessing Lascavia on this Fiend. Demonettes going to a 4-3-1-5, getting their ability off to go to a 4-3-2-6 is hilarious for potential damage spikes. There's so many ways to bless this list. This is probably what I would run. It is somewhat inspired by Eitan, frankly, because Eitan's list he played into me was basically this, but with a Vex more, I think, and a lot less blessings. But this is a really solid call for your Demons of Slaanesh. I think this will do really well. It's ungodly fast. Like, have you seen how fast this list is? Like, Vashtis being movement 4 is comically slow when everyone else is moving 5 base. And, like, you know, we've got almost half the warband is faster than that. Like, we've got movement 8 Fiends, movement 10 Contorted Epitomes, and movement 6 Lascavias. It's kind of bonkers how fast this list actually is. So they can do objectives really well. Super well. And it's durable enough, right? When you've got the Epitome and the Fiend, yeah, the T3, but that's 50 wounds of just bulk. You can throw that into things. You can do things with that. You can do some tanking, a bit of spanking. It's all a good time. We all enjoy that, right? especially if you're playing Slaanesh, you do. Don't lie. But then, of course, you've got your battle trait, right? Which is not that. It is this. I tell a lie. The Lure of the Missing God. After the initiative phase, pick an enemy within 1 inch of one or more friendly fighters. Roll a dice on a 3+. They cannot make disengage actions. Incredible. If you want something to die, if you want something dead, the fact that you can lock them down. Right, this is actually amazing with Vexmore. For the record, Vexmore loves this because you can't. Is a 66% chance you cannot escape Vexmore. If he just runs at you and stands next to you, there's a chance you can't escape. And if you're basing Vexmore, you're fucked. He will put holes in you, something rotten. And you do not want to have any holes exposed when against Slaanesh, that is for sure. So, great battle trait as well. And because these are all squishy demons, so where the Cyberite list is very much like T5 centric, although there's some squisher things, this list caps at toughness 3. Every single model's toughness 3, which means the vast majority of the game is hitting you on 3s, which means shed pain pops off like crazy. Every time you take a hit, you bounce that damage right back at your opponent. This is wonderful into everything. It's especially good when your chaff are fighting other chaff, because it lets you punish those chaff when you're about to die by getting a little bit of cheeky chip in as well. Your threat ranges are incredible. Again, you have Lithe and Swift, which will be your go-to like ability here, is Lithe and Swift, to get your guys around the board, right? We're saying movement 5 base, movement 8, movement 11, movement 13 on some of these guys, right? They get around whenever they want to. You're super fast, play the objective games, play treasures like crazy, and when you need to stand on objectives, Discordant Disruption for -1 attack in a 6-inch bubble on a double is bonkers good. It is ridiculous. Curled Lash for a net, Crushing Grip for a net, your trait for a pseudo net, your quad for a net. Like, you've got some sauce. This is a saucy list. I'm a big fan of this. I'll also put this into a notepad as well. Our sexy Slaanesh list. We've got some good stuff going on here. That's for sure. So that is, we're running out of sexy people. We can argue we go over sexy dwarfs, do a bit of Hellsmith looking at, because I am tempted to do some Hellsmithing too, because spoiler, myself, Phylax, and Off-Night Musings have just recorded our Christmas episode, our year-end review Wild Dice episode, and that will come out on Wednesday. And with that in mind, we did have a little natter at what we kind of wanted to do. And Chaos Dwarfs were, during the recording, my go-to. Before Slaanesh became my go-to. Right? Slaanesh is now sort of like my current top spot. Something sexy. And I do think Hellsmiths are sexy, so like they do. That's why on the poll, Hellsmiths are the sexy dwarfs, and I can do that. Francis, do you think we are getting any rules for dark water units? I don't know. Would be the question. Would be the answer, because the last Warhammer quest we got one. Was it Curse City? Because Curse City, that was Warhammer Quest, right? Was Curse City, I think. Can't remember anymore. Whatever title they gave it. But we got Jelson. Was it Jelson Darrick? Is the only model that's come from that sort of like RPG. That RPG system of game system lineup that Games Workshop did. It was just Jelson. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't hold out on it. I would love to see them though. I would love, because the baddies look really good. The baddies look really good. Off Matt, how's it going, man? It depends on the Nurgle army book, in my opinion. Yeah, spot on. Most of the Cursed City generic baddies made it in. Well, in that case, yeah. I mean, if it's really easy to add in the baddies, right? Like, I think baddies being added in would make sense, and they're all Nurgly, right? So it would be a really good excuse for Games Workshop to like rework Nurgle a little bit. Right, like we haven't seen many faction reworks, really, but we did see a big shake-up for Fleshy Courts, and we saw a really big shake-up for Iron Jaws. Big faction reworks, and these came off the back of new models, right? And of course, Nurgle are getting a new army book, right? So Nurgle are getting like some cool cav, and all that, the cool cav that have been announced. Like the new big bulky guys have been announced as well. Like, so the new army book does have some new stuff in it. So there is definitely the chance that something kind of saucy from Darkwater makes it in. And I think I'm with Houston Toad. Like, I hope we do see some of it. I am just not 100% like confident that it would happen. I hope so though, because more models is more models, right? Like, I think having more dudes in the game, especially when it's like modern dudes, because Games Workshop are really on a roll for making really good shit. Like the new Warcry stuff we get is creative and interesting, and kind of spicy. Not always like the most powerful, but at the very least interesting. And yeah, I would like to see what they would do with it if they put them in, just because, like, let's be real, Nurgle's kind of boring, right? Like, I've said many times, I don't like Nurgle demons. I find them incredibly boring to play. I don't like pretty much anything in their lineup. The only exception is the Beast of Nurgle, because it's really goofy. And then the new Pseudo Bladeborn and the Grandfather's Gardeners, who are legitimately really fun. But actual like Nurgle demons as a whole, I find quite boring. And Rotbringers kind of fall into the same category up until Spurting Mucus came out, and then that became really fun. That's a really, really creative way of weaponizing wounds that I am all for. Spurting Mucus is wonderful. But there isn't that much to Nurgle mortals, right? Like, you've got the Lord of Plagues, he's really good. Like, Blight Lords aren't too shabby. You might take a big Flyboy, you might take a whole bunch of these big fights. You'll always take Gulgok the Butcher, right? You might take Sepsimus if you're feeling a bit spicy. But your options are fairly limited, so like, there isn't much you can do with current Nurgle. So a really big shake-up for Nurgle would be really nice. I would personally prefer to see Khorne demons get a shake-up. Even Khorne mortals could do with it too, because they're a little bit like, our smalls are good, our bigs are good, but all of our middles and heroes are shit. So like Khorne as a whole could see a bit of a tweak too. But that's less likely to happen because they aren't getting a new book. Nurgle are. So having something kind of spicy here would be kind of sexy. The extra big plague bearers could be cool, definitely. Absolutely. there's a lot of really sexy stuff. 2 Cankerborn, 3 Blight Templars, 8 Pestigores, and 14 Pox Wretches. Those could be likely. Yeah, honestly, mate, if Pestigores get in the game, I hope they are really good. Because I love Beastmen. I love Bestigore Destroyers. Back in the day, I loved Korngor. I love Zangor and Zinch, right? Like Slangor in Covenant Warcry is great. Having Pestigore turn up and just being fucking bloated beastmen with big fuck up axes would be great. Like, play into the beastmen thing of like they just shit on everything and just smear feces everywhere and mark it. Like, have some sort of pseudo like mechanic from Hellsmiths, right? Where there's shit on things and make things really just like vile. And makes people just like, oh god, the Pestigores are here, there's just shit everywhere. Ideal ability idea for Pestigore. But yeah, like the what a Cankerborn, I can't remember what all these things are. But I would love to see more Nurgle. More Nurgle is always fun. Gives you options. My only concern with that actually is that, like, if you were to do this, right, like, would it... So those all look like or sound like Nurgle Mortally stuff, right? So that's putting a whole bunch of stuff in Nurgle Mortals. Would that mean Nurgle Mortals are going to be a little bit bloated with chaff? They'll overshadow their big chunkas, like the Blight Kings? Maybe. I don't know. I would like to see what they do, because they could just throw them in and then let people have fun, or they could like do more of a reworky look at things. And if they do like more of a rework, then how are they going to do that? I don't know. It could bloat the faction in weird ways, and maybe it won't. It depends on how much care and attention they give the faction. Francis, Pestigores will be weird to add because in Darkwater, with Shield and Age of Sigma will be two-handed. Nah, I'll be fine. Like, it's one of those things. So, like, I feel like when it comes to weapon options, you can just not list the weapon options on the profile, right? Like, if you just have Pestigores, right, as a profile, and it's just Pestigores, it doesn't matter what weapons the models have, because they're just Pestigores. Like, you don't have to do the Putrid Blight King thing where you've got a Toxin, a Bearer, a Weapon, and a Shield guy. You don't need to do that. Just have fucking Pestigore. One profile, encompasses all weapons. It's all fine. Everyone's happy. Less work, less profile bloat. Or, of course, they could just go, give you two options. Here's Pestigore, big axe. Pestigore with big shield. And in either case, you would have something to work with. I don't think it'd be too difficult to do. The Blight Kings of whom? Kings need commoners. That's true. Nurgle is quite liable to bloating. Also true. It's part of the aesthetic. Houston Toad, you've beaten me. I have been outfoxed. You make a lot of sense here. If anything, Nurgle Rotbringers need more bloat because they're not bloaty enough, despite having bloat flies. The question is though, right? Because I come from a time, I assume if you've been in Warhammer long enough, like, you've also come from the time where demons and mortals are constantly being changed with, are demons and mortals one faction, or are they two separate factions? And they change this up constantly within the game. They can't decide. Like, between editions, this changes all the time. I have seen this change happen freaking more times than I can count in my time within the Warhammer gaming systems. It's very annoying. Which leads to the question is, will they combine the Maggotkin into one faction? Will they get rid of demons and Rotbringers and just have the Maggotkin of Nurgle as one faction that combines everything into one and make one giant bloated faction? I don't know. I don't know if I'd even want that. Because that adds even more issues, right? Because when you consider like the cool little zombie dudes and like the little swordy dudes and the new pestigores combined with having also plague bearers also in that same faction, that's a lot of guys who could feasibly operate in the chaff section of your warband. And does a faction really need like 4 chaff? Probably not. They probably don't need that much chaff. But you never know. I'd be interested to see how I'm interested to see how they do it, because and also when will we see this in Warcry, right? Like, they were pretty hot off the press when it came to Chaos Dwarfs, right? Like the Hellsmiths got their update really close, like shortly after the wave 2 hit Age of Sigmar. So like once there was like enough guys to actually buy and build an army out of, then like cool, also here's Warcry stuff. I would like to know, I think it's not a matter of if, I think we will see this stuff because of just the quality and the quality of FAQs we've had. I think it's inevitable we will see the Nurgle update as well. It's more of a when, and sooner rather than later is always a good thing to hope for, because more substantial content's always good. And also for me personally, I would like to see that update when it comes, to also come with some really some points changes. I think the one thing I missed from the last FAQ was that there was no points changes. They adjusted some of the mistakes they'd made, but they didn't like come in and like poke and prod at like a Skurg and True Blades. Like they nerfed a Skurg and True Blades heavily via rules changes to the core rules and match play, but they didn't like address that within their points to make them like takeable. So I would like to see that addressed and have something addressing the massive disparity of the low end. I think the Skurg and True Blades and Khorne Demons are basically operating by themselves in the depths of low tier, and nothing else really operates down there that I can think of. It really is just those 2 factions, and seeing them getting a little bit of just a boop up there would be really nice. It'd be nice for those factions to be good, or at least made not unplayable. So that with Nurgle, awful. That sounds like a good update to me. Houston Toad, I think demons plus mortals is generally interesting. Things like Sloppy Bilepiper mixing with Nurgle mortals just seems fun. Yeah, it does, and there is a bit of overlap, technically, already. Because in the current Nurgle, I've lost it. The Rotbringers have the Sonorous Toxin, which basically does the Sloppy Bilepiper effect, but within Nurgle Mortals. But if they're reworking the whole faction, right, what you do is you take all of these Blight King profiles, all 4 of them. You maybe keep the Icon Bearer if that's like a model within like still a model when it comes out. And you kill them all. You delete all these profiles and replace them with 1 profile. Right, you don't need 4, just have 1. Called the Future Blight King. Good to go. Put in a Sloppity. He fills in the Sloppity role. Good to go. It's doable. You just need to do some like really careful culling. Like, do we need a Future Blight King Blight Lord? No. We don't, because we don't need unit champions in our game. in my opinion. Cut him out. He's not needed. And just, you know, do some careful culling and then slot in some demons. You're good to go. Maybe Claws of Karanak having synergy with Flesh Hounds would be cool. How could we do that? Let's have a gander. That's a really good point. Because I would love Claws of Karanak. One of my go-to ideas that I can never quite get working because of points. Even after the points changes, I think I still can't do it. Where is it actually? It's in Corn Malls. Blades of Corn. Blades of Corn, Bloodbound. I really want to take Magor Red Hand and Riptooth. And these two guys, if I can, right? I want to take the whole thing into Claws of Karanak. At the very least, I want Riptooth in there. And maybe like Zarkus. Maybe. Or not. They can get dropped. It doesn't really matter. But those with Claws of Karanak is my dream. Is to have an 8-man list that can like effectively run this. It's like a Hound of Wrath. And you put in some whelps, right? Bap. No, you can't. The forever issue is that Magor Red Hand and Riptooth are too expensive. But I would love to see something like that be feasible. But how could we make it work within their rules? And I think it's really simple, right? I think all you do is with for pack hunters, you just take out. You keep this in, okay? This is all fine, right? And then you put a little comma here and say all has the beast rune mark. Okay, so has both the Claws of Karanak and the Agile rune mark, comma, or the beast rune mark. They can activate immediately, and then you're good to go. Then you're having a good time. You can take in like Flesh Hounds if you could, do the Gore Hounds if you could, Riptooth if you could. You can't because none of those models are fucking heroes, so you're kind of stuck with being unable to do that. Bar Riptooth and like Chaos Warhounds and Furies and Spawn and shit, right? There's not that much. But being able to take Flesh Hounds would be great. In fact, I wouldn't be against just taking out their trait, and you could replace this trait with so many things. Oh, good God. You could replace that with this faction can ally in Flesh Hounds and Gore Hounds, and that'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, like, if you stay all in faction, you can take Flesh Hounds, and then have pack hunters that'll come and go and has the beast rune mark, and then suddenly you can pack hunters those Flesh Hounds, you can take Flesh Hounds, and it kind of fits because currently, like, for a warband about Karanak, we don't actually have a dog, and the Hound of Wrath isn't a dog; it's just a dude, right? It's just a guy with a wolf mask on, right? So he's not even a dog; he's like a fake dog. It would be nice to have some dogs in the faction that is all about hunting down people for the dog demon, right? That would be nice. That would be really cool for Claws of Karanak. Alas, currently there's very few options. I do kind of want to like try and dabble with Magor Red Hand. Can we do something with him? We can't take his buddies, but like whatever. Bloodbound, Magor's Fiends. So we need Magor, sadly, and Riptooth. I mean, Magor's not bad, right? He's like 155 points, a 440, 426 wounds. Dude's nice and burly, and he works with Riptooth because Riptooth has the ability to make Magor like shift his butt a bit. Kind of cool. Magor has Demon Maw, which is also pretty darn good. Like roll a bunch of dice for every 4 plus do 1 damage, every 6 plus do 3. It's a nice bit of chip or potential like substantial damage, especially when you consider that what's it called, Onslaught's gone or is less viable. Demon Maw makes way more sense now. Lord of Skulls is meh, whatever. Blood Sense, where it's at though. Everyone with the Magos Fiend Rune Mark within 6 can make a bonus move action. That's really good. Because it also works on Riptooth. But getting Magor to move as well is great. You could try and squeeze in like Zarkis or Gartok to get 2 guys, Riptooth, Mago, and Gartok in one group, all moving in a deployment group. That could be cool. I think it's too expensive, and I don't actually think these 2 are actually worth taking. Their wounds are wonderful at 16, but I don't think they're really worth it. And then you go into here, right? So you need the pack load. I think you do take a Hound of Wrath, because I think if you're taking Claws of Karanak, like for 150 points, the Hound of Wrath is really good value. I think it would be unfortunate if you were to not take the Hound of Wrath, because he's a fun dude, right? He's a fun dude all around. And I would be personally upset if people didn't take him. And then you take some Blood Robs. Can you get to 8? You can just get to 8. Stick of poetry. How do you bless this? I think you'd put +1 strength on Riptooth. Or on the Hand of Wrath. You don't have much. I could go some crits. Maybe it would be nice to get +1 strength on both Riptooth and the Hand of Wrath. I think you go with Riptooth just because Riptooth has charge. And then you've got like 10 points left over. With those 10 points, maybe put it into Hound of Wrath, maybe into Pack Load on a crit or something. You're good to go, right? Flesh Hounds exist both in Blades and Corn Demons. Yes, they do. They are actually one of the best parts of Corn Demons, because Flesh Hounds are good. Is like the kicker, right? Flesh Hounds are like legitimately kind of good. Are they the same price? It's 180. James, why are the Corn Demons Flesh Hounds 5 points more? You cockwomble. You absolute cockwomble, James. Right. Do they have charge on these guys? Okay. I'll let them off. The Flesh Hounds in Corn Mortals don't have charge. I am pretty sure in Demons that they do. They do. Okay. That's fine. So, we now know how much charge costs as an ability. It costs 5 points. So the ability on Flesh Hounds is actually really good. They are one of the best parts of Corn Corn Demons, because they are durable. They're not too expensive. They're not too expensive. They're quite fast, and they have charge and a good profile. Gorehounds less so. It's a little bit sad that Gorehounds are... they're not... like, they are well priced. Like, when you compare them to Flesh Hounds, +5 wounds, +1 attack, +1 crit for 65 points, that is about 65 points worth of stats. Right? Like, Gorehounds are actually quite good when you compare them to Flesh Hounds. They are too expensive though, I think. I think you just stick with Flesh Hounds, because the stats you're gaining aren't impactful enough, despite them being a point for point fine. Right? The Gorehound does get a quad, which does really help it out. And the quad is quite good. Pick some dude and then set him on fire. It's not the best version of this quad. If you look at like Averon Stormsire, his triple's better than this. Kind of. That hits on a 3+ and does 3 damage as opposed to 2+ and 2 damage. This is more reliable, but the damage is lower. It is what it is. It's a fine quad. Absolutely fine. But yeah, Gorehounds are cool. Flesh Hounds are probably better. And with charge, they get around. I think if you're playing Corn Demons, you kind of want to take at least one Fleshhound. If Gorehounds were heroes, I think it would be really nice, because then you could take a Gorehound as an ally, and like legit, I wouldn't be hugely against Gorehound ally. Considering that I am taking Mago Red Hand and Riptooth just to take Riptooth, right? Like, I am paying a 155 point tax to get a Fleshhound in my list. So I'd be fine paying 40 points for a hero upped Gorehound. That'd be pretty cool. I also wouldn't be like, how crazy would it be if Games Workshop gave Corn Demons Karanak? Just straight up fucking Karanak as a character within their list. Like, I know that Karanak is like the personal Fleshhound of Corn. Like, he's a big deal. Probably outside the scope of Warcry. Let's be fair here. But also, like, Slan exists. Like, fuck it. If space toads who can dream armies and command like entire like species can be in Warcry, let Karanak exist. Put it in Corn Demons. Give Rub. Yeah, Neve exists. Exactly. There's so many characters who are like way beyond the scope of power and rep of Warcry in Warcry. Just put fucking Karanak in, right? Like, it'd be fine. Make him a really cool Fleshhound, slap him in Corn Demons, and just have a good fucking time eating people with it. I would take him. It'd be a good time. I'm looking at Corn Demons. I'm like, but what if I made a Corn Demon list just for fun on stream? But I don't think that would be fun. I think it'd be depressing. Cause I've tried many times off stream, and it kind of makes it sad. There are multiple Slan. There are only 9 Gaunt Summoners in the whole Age of Sigmar universe. What the fuck? There's only 9. And that is crazy. And they're just here. These motherfuckers. I find it hilarious because when I play Zinch Arcanites, I tend to take like 3 of these guys. Well, usually Magus does, but theoretically, I could take 3 Gaunt Summoners in a list. And you're telling me that's 1/3 of all Gaunt Summoners who exist in the vast universe. Hilarious. Hey, Alex, man, how's it going? Opinion on Kamidora. Moving 5, 25 wounds. Boring. Sadly. not to like throw out an immediate like bullshit. Now I love Kamidora in Corn Mortals with the rest of her guys. I actually really I genuinely think that Kamidora's blades are really interesting and a lot of fun. And Kamidora, within the scope of her actual warband, I would give her +1 crit because I like 6 damage crits, and she's just there waiting for us to do that. People, not to like poo on anyone's fun, I don't like heroes and allies who do nothing. Right, like bar be a block of really efficient nothing stats, because that's what she is. Right, like, it's not like taking a cheap and efficient damage dealer. She isn't that. She is raw, just bulk. She has nothing else going for her outside of her warband. So I cannot stand her as an ally option because she doesn't fit into my, like, how I like to build lists, personally. It's the same with Castlight Host, is it Battle Priests? How they were a thing and are still a thing at the minute. Where people go, I need a cheap ally, so I'm going to slap in like a Battle Priest to bulk up numbers. I feel like it goes against what I view the ally system is meant to be. It doesn't add anything of interest to a list, and I really like having something interesting when it comes to my allies and to what I built in a list, whether that be a gimmick or just like a fun just little thing it can do. And just Kamandora and Battle Priest just don't do any of that. Like, what does Kamandora even do by herself? Let's grab her. Oops. And that's not to say she's not good. Like, in my opinion, I don't like her as an actual model. Kamandora's fine. Like 90 points, 25 wounds. That's a crazy defensive stat line to have. Like, I can see why people want her and take her, but also she doesn't do anything. She's just there, being bulky. And is like she's never doing blood for the blood guard. She's got strength 2 and no damage. Eruption of hate. Cool. She can get +1 attack on when they're bleeding out. She can make someone bleed. The bleed's good. Like she's not doing anything. Like, she doesn't add anything but her just a raw bulk. And I find that really just. She's good. I personally wouldn't take her. She takes a valuable leader slot, hero ally slot, and I want those slots for cool shit. I like my cool stuff. Give me more cool things. No more Kamandoras. And also, if I take a Kamandora, then how can I fit in 2 True Bloods as allies, right? And like, when I play Chaos, there's always that temptation. But what if I took 2 True Bloods into every list? And Kamandora means I can't do that. And that makes me sad. So, Houston Toad, they show up in 3 places: on disc, no disc, and in Save the Darkness. All 9 Gaunt summoners are named. That is hilarious. Joe, what's going on? Team Triplets, lol, yeah. Toast needs you, Joe, to play him in Warcry. I am down. If anyone wants to have a game of Warcry, I'm down to play Warcry with anybody. If Joe's up to play Warcry, then even better, because we've got some Slaanesh cheese to play. I say cheese. We've got some Slaanesh to play. I'm in the depths of Slaanesh's embrace, and Joe's trapped in Dark Oath hell for the 2nd year running. No, but Joe. Life takes precedent as always. But I think with that, because sadly I've thrown out messages to Phylax and Off-Meta, and both are unable to today, unfortunately. I am running out of things to talk about. But Dark Oath, I am happy to talk about Dark Oath. We'll do some Dark Oath nattering, and then I think we'll call the stream there. It's been a good 2 hours. Let's do some Dark Oath. Dark Oath's always fun. We've raged on Kamandora, potentially excessively and unnecessarily. I apologize, Alex, for the rage. I can't stand Kamandora though. Dark Oath. Dark Oath are a dick. I love Dark Oath, but like they are so razor's edged in terms of balance, where it's very difficult to fit every toy you want, right? And still hit a good battle count. It's tricky. Joe, post the list, we'll have a look. Houston Toad, what does Dark Oath need to be competitive and totally self-sufficient? A battle trait. That's all we need. We need a battle trait. I think Dark Oath are very close to Chaos Dwarfs in how well balanced they are. Because they've got some good stats, they've got some really good picks, they've got some Brand's Oathbound are all interesting. They are really good. They are like competitively, they are very, I think, right slap bang in the middle of mid tier, which is really, it's a fun place to be. We've seen players like Alex take them, I think, to 3-1 at Warcry. Warcry, the Polish tournament Warcry, and that was great to see. Really good to see. So I think they can be taken competitively, but they definitely need to have a battle trait. I'll look at both 9 and 8. Just hide them in there. I'll have a look at both of them. Houston Toad, I think some sort of conditional auto oath battle trait would be good. Nice. I'll have a quick little gander at that in a second, Joe. Yeah, Alex was running Wilderfiend plus the Master Molder to get the Wilderfiend to attack more. Inspired. Wonderful. Excellent. Because the Wilderfiend's hard to play with. Because the Wilderfiend's really fucking good. Like, 300 points, T5, 35 wounds, fast, like, game-changingly powerful quad, 6-5-3-4, absolute blender. Can't get into combat for shit though, right? Because he doesn't have charge or any sort of like gap closer. So like the Molder letting this guy swing out of activation, sexy as fuck. It's really good. Yeah, he's 300 points. Like, it's expensive, but he can still like hit like an 8-man list, which is kind of fine. You take this guy and you are limiting your options elsewhere, but he gives you a really strong guy to sort of like. I see him kind of like a frontline distraction kind of effects. Most things that are big, I see them as like, I'm going to throw this guy forward. And 90% of the time, people will invest resources in killing this guy when they probably don't need to. just throw things at people and they get distracted. It is a tried and tested method. It works 100% of the time, half the time. I think for that battle trait, Houston Toad, I think my option would be that at the start of every battle round, pick a model and they get oathed. So they count as being oathed. So I think at its weakest form, it's at the start of the game, pick a model on the battlefield, they start oathed, so they don't have to waste the turn using an ability to get oathed and then get a kill. It means you have that ball rolling before the game even starts. And that's great. At its strongest, you have it as, at the start of the game, pick a model on the battlefield, that model starts fully powered, as in they are what's the ability, what's it called when they get full powered? Yeah, pick a model and they start favored. So pick a model, they start favored. That's it, the high end power. If you want to go absolutely bonkers, I think that's too strong. I think sticking with pick a guy they start oath is more mechanically interesting than going full on crack to fuck with starting favored. I don't think that's probably as interesting or as fun, because it means you're not really playing with the mechanic, you're just getting the benefit for nothing. Joe, that's great. Pick 3 models to be oathed or 1 model to be favored is actually quite interesting. Or I think the other one would be at the start of every turn, pick 1 model on the battlefield and they gain oathed immediately, and you can go from there. So on turn 1, pick Singri. On turn 2, pick the War Queen. So like you pick models based on the turn and the situation to get oathed, and it gives you momentum over the course of the game. It saves you on having to spend doubles, but you're still working within the boundaries of the mechanic. I think that'll be really interesting. So you can sort of like mix and match with the power, how powerful you want it to be. But I think it has to work around this oath mechanic for it to really sort of like... Because it's their strongest mechanic is their oath mechanic on paper. It's just a little bit too clunky, so smoothing out the clunk a little bit would be where I would go, well, how can I do that? The battle trait would be where the smoothing would go. Let's punch in Joe's list here. I mean, straight away, Demon Smith. I've heard a few people, I've played Joe with Demon Smith, but I've heard a few people getting quite excited about the Demon Smith as a model. And frankly, I'm not surprised. The Demon Smith's a really solid model. Chaos Spawn. He's a cheap, durable dwarf. Alex, do you think the Dark Oath reaction to produce abilities on death took a big hit with the nerf to Onslaught, or was the vision for it to always get your models oathed? I need to read the reaction to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Give us 2 seconds. Ephelim, Spawnmo. Good pick, Spawnmo. Abstracts. And this Joe, this list is fully going kind of like crazy. I'm loving it. A Marauder Champion? This list is going wild, dude. I'm loving it. Champion. Broken Nadia, and then 2 spears. Jesus. Broken Nadia. Spears. Oops. I hit a button. This was not the button I was looking for. And then 2 spears. Bap, bap. Right, so we have 50 points of blessings here. That's kind of crazy. Right, let's have a look. Reaction. Fighters with the... Okay, so Will the Fiend can't do it. A fighter can make reaction when they attack, but melee attack can put the result. If it's enough for this fight to be taken down, gain a double. Okay, yeah, this is a great one. I actually really like this a lot. I like it a lot. It's harder to pull off. It's one of those things because counter is a lot worse now. So you're not really likely to like throw counter out as much because it's not really worth the actions for the most part. Capping out on 3, but it's also unlikely you'll even do 1 damage. It's kind of sucks. So holding on to your actions and then like doing this on death is kind of cool. And because you always gain a double, and that double, and you lose Onslaught, which sucks. But you do gain access to respite. It only heals you 1 though. I see your point. I see your point now. Actually, yeah. Without Onslaught, it becomes less enticing. Brand's Oathbound are all triples, so you only have 3 doubles that you have. Swift Attacker. I mean, Javelin, sure. Yeah, like, I think yeah, all those doubles get translated into more oaths, right? Actually, I think you're right. I think the reaction has gotten a lot worse without Onslaught because their double selection's so piddly. That's interesting, actually. I don't know. And you, yeah, yeah. I think it is because healing 1 and respite is fine. It's like it might help, but it's not great. So it is with all in faction. You're looking at just Oath and Rush, or yeah, I was about to say Houston Toad. You take allies. You pump allies specifically targeting doubles. To get that. And I think Joe's kind of nailed that here because Ephelim's teleport's a double. And Apatrax's pull is a double as well. So you've got like some really powerful doubles that you're kind of doing for free. Most players will activate Titans and such early in the round, so the doubles will have less utility. Yeah, potentially. I think it would be a case of it's either less impactful simply because Onslaught's gone, or you build around it to have more doubles to fuel a not dice value dependent double game. Like True Blood maybe, but like he'll probably she'll activate before you would have to really use it. I'm not really sure. I think it might struggle with it now. And so you raised a good point that kind of I overlooked, but that's a really good point. I think overall it's been nerfed a little bit just because of the lack of Onslaught being in that pool. Dark Oath being simply murder batteries for demonic magic is thematic. Yeah. It is very thematic, actually. It is very true. And Joe's list, let's have a look. Joe's list actually works really well with this, simply because Joe's list has so many doubles in it. Like we have Demon Smithing, Blue Fire, Lux of Sorcery, Sudden Warp Portal, Hypnotize, Oath of Murder. And of course, you wouldn't use Locus of Sorcery or Blue Fire with your generated doubles from your reaction. You would burn your actual doubles for this and then use your worst double, your free doubles on Demon Smithing or into Sudden Warp Portal and Hypnotize, which are dice value independent, so they work regardless. So you would try and work it that way, I guess. But this list, what we've got Ephelim. Ephelim's fantastic, one of the best models in the whole game. For many reasons. One, Ephelim is a strength 4 wizard, always good. She, I don't even know anymore. Ephelim, anyway, is strength 4, always good. Ephelim brings access to their very cheap lineup of minions like Apatrax, like Spawnmaw, who is also a solid melee fighter. Apatrax is a fun melee fighter with a pull and fly. Always good to know. Joe said 3 strength blessings with his 50 points. So Ephelim getting +1 strength makes sense. And I believe it was Spite. Yeah, Spite on the Thrall. On the Chaos Spawn. So that's his 45. That's 45 points there. Spited Spawn is one of my favorite things to do. In this list, we have, of course, 3 heroes. That Marauder Champion, it's doing a lot of work, being the only hero in here. The Marauder Champion is really holding the line in your Dark Oath list. Broken Nadja for flat damage is great. It looks like a fun list. My only concern is that it has a lot of tricks, but it's a little bit on the squishy side, right? Like, so you've got tricks, you've got some damage on Broken Nadja with her ability, you've got damage on Ephelim's range bolt, you've got damage on that spawn. Maybe on Spawn more, bit of tricks on that pull and the teleports, all the usual Ephelim shenanigans. But the risk would be, I think, that it might just get shot. Because Ephlim with 18 wounds is quite squishy. With 9 guys, of course, with 9 guys, you've got the models to spare, I guess. But it's like a lot of like T3 or T4 10 wound guys. It's a little bit on the squishy side. It might just like collapse. Because yeah, the spawn's the only beef. And I think without a War Queen, I think without the War Queen, like the core of your models, your Marauder base, doesn't have that freedom of movement to sort of like do movement tricks. The idea is spawn Hellsmith and Apotrax just to hurt people. Yeah, okay. So you Demon Smith to reduce toughness. You Apotrax to pull people in. Then the spawn goes nom 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 and eats people. The only thing you've got to bear in mind is that you can't spite react to a forced move. Yes, the magic bolts from the Demon Smith and the Ephlim will definitely playing Order of Vizier with 4 wizards functionally. Midwinter Massacre, like 2 wizards is really fun. two wizards, 4 wizards, like the more wizards you can get, the better. That the 3/6 damage at a range is just, it's wonderfully fun, especially when Ephlim can do this big double shot basically every time, because you just teleport them. You don't ever move them. Ephlim's always teleporting into range, right? And of course Nadia being the 3rd wizard bolt, you've good point there, and the triple on Nadia. There's damage here. There's definitely damage here. It exists. I fear it's just a little bit squishy. And again, if the trick was to pull with Apotrax to get the spawn to react to the pull, that won't work, because you can't react on your turn, right? The way it's worded, right, is that reactions are something you do on your opponent's turn. Reactions are things a fighter can do during an enemy's fighter's activation. So if you were to pull somebody in your turn, you couldn't react to move it in, which is like, I'm not sure if that is what you want to do, but if it was, it is not something you could do. Oh, so just pull the activated model into the spawn and just eat them. Yeah, that works. That absolutely works as well. Spawn are great. There is one with more, and the spawn getting strength. Yeah, the debuff from the wizard. So was it -2 toughness and then just like munch away? Spawn can do damage with that, especially when the potential combo with the triple as well. So he gets like, is it 14 attacks at like the highest end of output on the spawn, is like double swing for 14 attacks. That'll, especially if you're hitting on a 3+ onto just about anything, you're going to put holes in things for sure. I wish Savagers could ally into Dark Oath without penalty. It would be nice if you could slap in like a Slaughterborn, right? Slaughterborn are fun, guys. I don't know. I mean, you can. You're just losing the trait that you don't have, I guess. I find Dark Oath really difficult to list. Personally, I like them a lot, but I haven't played enough Dark Oath myself to really get a feel for what really works. Yeah, the Savage's Wizard, to the God Speaker, right? To get all that free wild dice would be great to play with, for sure. Like, there's so many good stuff. There's good stuff in Dark Oath. It's just trying to find the points to fit all the good stuff in. Like, I'm not even against Dendril Direbrand, frankly. Like, Dendril Direbrand ain't even that shabby. I would take a Dendril Direbrand if I had the points. He's a fun guy. I believe his ability was kind of fun too, but I can't remember it. Demolition Strikes. Crit on the 3+. Crazy. Sorry, he hits on the 3+, sorry. That's fine, I guess. And he crits on the 5+. Okay, Dendril's not that good. Dendril's not... He's fine. Dendril's fine. I respect Dendril. Give him +1 crit, maybe. He's good to go. He's fine, right? But yeah, Joe, I think Ephelim in with Dark Oath is actually really solid. I think Ephelim's always a solid pick. The Demon Smith to pull down toughness as well. It works even for like the Demon Smith independently, because you pick a thing that has like toughness 4 or 5, and you just pull that toughness down so you can hit more reliably with that wizard. But like independently, it's a good ability. And then when you combo that with things like the Chaos Spawn, then things kind of get rolling quite nicely. I think this is solid. I think it's really solid. I'll be interested to see how the 8-man list would work with the blessings jiggled around a little bit. If the Chorf Doombull hit the world, he might work. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Alex, you're not wrong. I had to answer that question with Order of Vizier in one of my last games before the event. Was, cool, here's a Varangard. It's now in your face. How does a gunline deal with that? And the answer was to climb terrain and ignore it. That was my go-to solution, was to ignore it as much as possible. Because I couldn't deal with it. There's an 8-man with a Thomroid Crusher. That would be a fun one. But yeah, no, you are right. Like, how do you deal with a big, fast, scary thing? Big, fast, scary thing is you... if your list doesn't have the tools to deal with it, you have to hope the board gives you the options to deal with it. I do think Wilderfiend is a really fun pick. I'm going to try and just throw together a list just quickly just without even really thinking about it. So I like War Queen, and I think War Queen needs... I think the ideal is at least 2 Marauders in the list. Bump up. I would, if you could hit 10 models to get like the War Queen with 3 Marauders to maximize, that would be great. That would be such a fun idea. Let's go with that. Let's give that a go. We'll go with like War Queen backed with 3 Marauders, and we'll vibe out and try and hit 10 man. We do need something fast. Fast and killy, and Singri screams out as fast and killy, but I don't think Singri is the answer. It might be a case of splitting the fast and killy across multiple things. I just don't know what, frankly. Like, what if it was something like... Lysa, theoretically, yeah. Yeah. Lysa does help with the Varangard. Potentially. The issue with the Varangard is that it can increase its attack. It can increase its attacks to bonkers levels, kind of ignoring the fact that Lysa's there. It's like, aha, tangled up, -2 attacks. Cool, I'm a Varangard. I've got +6 attacks. Oh no. And the Varangard proceeds to murder you regardless. I think a Fell Rider is a solid pick, maybe. Hang on, so what if we just like punched in a whole bunch of Marauders for now? Okay. and we'll take out a Marauder and add a guy, take out a Marauder, add a guy, and just keep on doing this over and over again. I have unconditional respect for every player who takes the path of rejecting big smashy pieces. Tough to make work, but so rewarding to accomplish. Singri Nadia. I mean, that is definitely... That looks like that's going to fit, isn't it? Yeah, that fits. Boom. It's perfect. Boys, we did it. This is the list I would take, personally. As a complete, I made this in 20 seconds kind of list. Would be something like this. Could we fair will defeat? We could, right? It's +1 strength on Queen or +1 strength on Singri Brand. We can't do both. I'm tempted on Singri just so we have like reliable long range chip. The Queen works too. Both work completely fine here. So the goal here is that obviously we have, I think it'll be Singri in one group, Dark Oath in a different group, and the Fell Rider in a third group. This gives us 3 very mobile units, because the Dark Oath moves the Marauders, Singri's fast, Fell Rider's fast. Nah, man, Fell Rider's too good. I refuse to. We could though. You're all right. Like bin Fell Rider, we could do all kinds of things. The issue, we can't hit 10 man with a Wilder Fiend, right? So the idea of this list is that with the War Queen, we are maximizing her double, right? Like Rally the Tribes is so damn strong, and if we can get her to move as many Marauders as possible, the better. And to do that, we hit 10. Because a 10-man means the War Queen can start with 3 Marauders as a 4-man drop. So she pops off, she does Rally the Tribes, and then you have 3 guys moving for free. You try to get a favored, then those guys all count as more dudes, right? I refuse to. I love Fell Riders. They are my favorite model in Dark Oath, and nothing comes close. One Fell Rider in a list, I think is, I wouldn't say it's a must take, especially if you've got Singri because she's already fast. But 110 points for 18 wounds, movement 10, is just wild amount of value. You could have a scenario where you have the Fell Rider and Singri working together to like backfield take objectives. They are so good. I love the Fell Rider. This guy stays. I don't even care. Fell Rider is a must take in this list. I don't know. Fell Rider has been a key piece for me in tournaments. Perfect. Yeah, I agree. Fell Riders are great. I ran. So, so this is my ideal list, or something along. You could also you could drop Singri Brand if you want to get kind of cool. Drop Singri, take a Tanari. Also, perfectly works. Give Tanari +1 strength, give the other, you have points of double, give Tanari +1 strength, give the War Queen +1 strength. Tanari's a really strong piece too. She has less threat than Singri, but Tanari works. I would accept Tanari as an option to Singri. 100%. Now, last Christmas, I didn't give you my heart, but I did give you this list. I ran this during the Christmas tournament on TTS, and I think I'm sure I went. Was it 3-1 or was it 2 in 1? Was it only 3 events? It was 2 in 1. This was the list. It was a Fell Rider, Axe Champion, Singri, and 6 Fell Riders. This list was disgusting. I think the only game I lost in that event was against against Grombrindle, the White Dwarf. Right. This list is hilarious. It cannot kill anything. It can't kill anything. Like Singri, if you get lucky, might get like oathed and then favored and then start blending things. But like that ain't likely with all this. But you are playing. You are speed. This is speed. This did so well on the TTS Christmas League. It was silly. It was too fast. It was fast and it was durable, right? Like 18 wounds at this speed. Anything that catches you, they catch you, they don't kill you. You can heal up because of Raider Tenacity, right? Like, it's not great, right? But you can still, you could, when in modern Warcry, disengage, respite, and then skedaddle away, right? You're a big old chunky boy. It was so much fun. It was so fast. Pacifist Mongol Horde for the win. You're damn right. It's Pacifist Mongol Horde. We are playing Polo. Would I advise buying this and playing this in real life? Probably not. If you ever got a bit of time on TTS for a fun game of Warcry, I mean, it's unless you're against a super heavy ranged warband, frankly, you're not dying. Because you decide every combat. And the answer to that is, I choose not to fight. And unless, of course, I choose to fight when I can put 6 Fell Riders into combat with one guy and pray I blend you to death. Which is kind of what I started to do on TTS. I was like, cool. I need to kill a chaff model this turn to get points so I win this kill mission. Send in the Horde. They would rush in, kill one guy, then fuck off the next turn. Never to be seen again. It was hilarious. It's great. eBay, you can get 5 in Singri for £30. That's kind of spicy. That ain't too shabby. That's a warband right there. Almost. Highly recommended. As something to fuck around with. I think I called it the was it like And Rohan shall answer or something? It was more. I was watching Lord of the Rings at the time again. I got inspired by Rohan coming to save Gondor at the turn of the tide, and I was like, cool. Dark Oath had the cheapest cav. Let's ball. We did it. It was awesome. I don't think I would have the painting chops to paint this many horses, because horses are weird to paint. And like weird things like stresses out. So I personally wouldn't have the balls to win this in real life, partially because of the painting. But one day maybe. One day maybe. You never know. Might take it to an event one day. And have a good time. But I think I'll call the stream there. We've been nattering for 2.5 hours. Ooh, let's have a look. Mike, Joe, you are a... Your painting is fucking sexy, dude. It's just, it's so vibrant and so crisp. Absolutely love that. If you don't mind, would I be able to put that into on the stream, Joe? Or is that? That's up to you. Sexy. We're going to have a closing gander at Joe's Goblin Wolf Riders. But who I also love, I forgot what they're called now, the Snarlfang Riders, and the new ones, the new Snarlfang riders are really good as well. The more melee ones, I love them both. They're so good. This should pop up in a second, in theory. Just waiting for it to change on the display here. Give it a moment. There we go. These are great. I love this model. It looks so good. And white, I can't ever get white looking good. I try, I struggle, I can't do it. This is sexy as fuck. This is great work. It's so good. Fucking love it. Top notch work, Joe. Absolutely love that stuff. But I will call the stream there. We didn't get a game in, but that's fine. There's always next week. And I think we've definitely managed to get through some really interesting lists, whether that's lists submitted by people or designing some Slaanesh lists. I think there's some source for the future to play with. Whether I take any of those to an event, I don't know. But at the very least, we might play them on stream one day, and it should be a good time. And looking at the poll, after the 2-hour stream, Sexy Humans won. So if we can get Sexy Humans into a game next week, that'd be cool. I've got them written down here on a little notepad, so we're good to pump them in whenever we can. Thanks to everybody who popped along to have a natter. It's been great as always, and I will see you all next time. I have in the pinned comment as well, if you want to go to War Cries in the West, I think it's March the 15th, if memory serves. That is ran by the wonderful Andy Morris over in Bristol. If you're in the area or can travel there, last time it was a fantastic event. I am sure Andy will pull out another fucking amazing event. So tickets are in the pinned comment. And until next time, everyone, ta-ra.